Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, first off, I am glad to be back after the crazy and somewhat nerve-wracking Hurricane Milton, and I thank everyone for their kind words and concern. I praise God that everyone is okay and we all have our homes and came back home and our home was still here. So definitely, my personal belief was God took care of us all, and again, praise God for that. With that said, I wanted to cover the case of Quinton Simon because Leilani Simon is now, her trial officially begins on Monday, October 14th. Oddly enough, that's going to be the day that now Sarah Boone's jury selection will begin. But Leilani's jury selection actually was this week, Wednesday and Friday, with motion hearings on Thursday. And I will cover that really quickly here. But first, I wanted to go over the case in brief. I do have a playlist for sweet little Quinton. I will link to that in the information of this video, because unfortunately I haven't covered him in a while, but you will see much more coverage during the trial. Georgia mom, or if we could even call her that, accused of murdering her 20-month-old toddler son, is on trial 2 years after his remains were found in a landfill. Now, those of you might remember, this happened back in October of 2022. Actually, October 5th to be exact, is when Leilani Simon called police to report that Quinton was missing. She told a 911 dispatcher that their front door was found open and that Quinton must have been taken. For weeks, investigators searched for the 20-month-old, and his remains were later discovered in a landfill on November 18th. This was a very, very horrific case, and my heart goes out to the jury while they go through this horrific case. They're going to have to hear details that none of us want to know about what happened to Quinton.
The trial of Leilani Simon began Wednesday with jury selection. More than 60 potential jurors were brought in and questioned by both sets of lawyers to determine who could ultimately decide if Simon is innocent or guilty. Cameras weren't allowed in the courtroom, but I was there for the entire 7-hour process. The day began with basic questions for the 67 jurors, like, have you heard of this case? Do you know anyone involved? Have you made up your mind about the guilt or innocence of the defendant? For the record, 9 potential jurors said they've already decided about Leilani Simon. When individually questioned, one potential juror who claims to have been following the case since the beginning asked the prosecutor who else could have done it. There's no evidence that could convince me otherwise. That's the challenge.
That potential juror, who obviously was sent home, that would be me. I could not be a juror on this trial. 100%. Who else could have done it? I agree with them completely.
For the state and defense, finding potential jurors who either haven't heard of the case or, if they have, determine who amongst them could impartially serve on a jury. Of the original 67 potential jurors, 20 qualified and 16 others were dropped. The goal is to find 50 qualified potential jurors, so then the lawyers can whittle those down to just 12. A final motions hearing is scheduled for Thursday morning, followed by more jury selection on Friday. We'll, of course, be there for every moment of it. Today, prosecutors tried to readmit evidence previously deemed inadmissible. The state believes that evidence gives a glimpse into the mindset of Leilani Simon ahead of the death of her toddler son, Quinton. The night before Quinton was killed, prosecutors say Leilani and her then-boyfriend Daniel Youngkin got into a fight because Leilani believed the couple was falling out of love. Leilani left after the argument, heading to her drug dealer. There, prosecutors say she picked up marijuana, cocaine, and Percocet and was high on all of them when Quinton was killed. Prosecutors unveil police interviews, texts from Leilani, and 2 witnesses, all of which they say point to Leilani battling with her boyfriend and drug addiction around the time of Quinton's demise. Attorney Jenny Parker told the court that Leilani, quote, felt so low and desperate that she killed Quinton to be loved. The defense called the move by the state a Hail Mary pass, saying all this evidence does is show Leilani in a bad light. While prosecutors acknowledge that's the case, they cited case law where using evidence that puts a defendant in a bad light is okay if it plays to the motive, which prosecutors believe it does. Judge Tammy Stokes ruled that nearly all of that evidence is admissible, excluding any evidence from the night Billy Joe and Leilani went to a Tybee Island bar and took shots. Stokes saying she doesn't see the intrinsic value of including it. In Savannah, I'm Andy Cole, WJCL 22 News.
All right, so that was day 2, Thursday. So let me get us caught up to today. According to the updated news about 30 minutes ago, this is now 5:30 Eastern as I record this, the jury is now seated in the trial, and they are set to begin at 9 a.m. on Monday, October 14th. The jury is comprised of 10 men and 6 women. So Leilani Simon allegedly beat her son, 20-month-old Quinton, to death and then dumped his body in the trash. He was later found in a landfill. And I'm not talking just a body. We're talking parts of him were found in multiple locations. This is going to be a very, very difficult trial for this jury and everyone involved, and hopefully this jury does it right. I mean, I'm going to pray that we get justice for sweet little Quinton, 20 months old. So this is the press conference when Chief Hadley announced that Leilani was charged with the murder of Quinton.
Good evening, everybody. Jeff Hadley. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chatham County Police Department. I'm accompanied this evening by Will Clark with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This afternoon, Chatham County Police Department detectives arrested 22-year-old Leilani Simon and charged her with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, false reporting, and making false statements in connection with the disappearance and death of her son, 20-month-old Quinton Simon. Leilani Simon is being held at the Chatham County Detention Center and is awaiting a bond hearing. We do not anticipate any other arrests in this case. She has been the sole suspect from the beginning. On Friday, our search teams at the waste management landfill found what they believed were human remains. This afternoon, the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia, confirmed that they are, in fact, human remains. Additional testing, including a DNA analysis, is being conducted, and we have every reason to believe that this will confirm the remains are Quinton's. This is a heartbreaking development for everyone who loved Quinton, for the many people who came to know him after his disappearance, and for our department. When we first received the call that Quinton was missing, we were hopeful that we would find him alive and unharmed. But as we have been telling you for weeks, all of our evidence pointed to his mother being responsible for his death and disappearance, and his remains being found in the landfill. I would like to thank the many people and agencies who worked hard to ensure that Quinton was found, that he would have a proper resting place, and that justice would be served. First and foremost, I want to thank the FBI. We are incredibly grateful for their invaluable assistance. Their expertise, their manpower, resources, and guidance are unmatched and were crucial in our efforts to find Quinton. They were on the scene within 3 hours of Quinton being reported missing and have assisted with every aspect of this investigation. The resources they poured into the landfill search are extraordinary and are the reason that we were able to find Quinton. I can't thank them enough. Chatham County Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division also deserves special recognition. Their devotion to Quinton, to making sure this crime did not go unsolved, is an example of police work at its finest. Our detectives worked tirelessly and were determined to follow every lead and uncover every piece of evidence in this case. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and Department of Natural Resources all had officers searching the landfill alongside our officers and the FBI. The support of the Chatham County Emergency Management Agency, Chatham Emergency Services, Chatham Occupational Safety and Health, Savannah Police, and Savannah Fire also were invaluable in this massive effort. Finally, I would like to thank the many people who showed their support for our department during this incredibly difficult and important investigation. We appreciate those who kept faith in the system and waited patiently for evidence we needed to make sure Quinton has every opportunity to receive the justice he deserves.
Again, this was when it was finally announced that she was arrested. And this was a very, very long time coming. I believe Chatham County and everyone involved in this case did excellent work. And for those that don't remember, they were out there searching that landfill. And I remember people on social media, they all complained. Oh, I can't believe that they're taking the weekend off. You know what? That's not a job that most people want to do. That searching a landfill for the remains of this sweet little boy, that's not something any of us want to be a part of. But they did excellent work. And I know that the state is going to be doing excellent work when they prosecute this case and the trial begins on Monday, the 14th, October 14th. I am praying that this sweet face here on the screen, sweet little Quinton, 20 months old, he gets the justice that he rightly deserves. He deserved so much better than Leilani. He deserved a lot better. Alright guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.